Hi everyone. So our first question is, do you believe assessment of learning styles leads to instruction that serves students better? Why or why not? With learning styles, I feel like everyone has a different learning style. I feel like they shouldn't even be called learning styles, because everyone obviously doesn't learn the same. But I feel like we would benefit more from having different outlets of learning styles instead of just picking one. I feel like just picking one learning style doesn't benefit every student, and that student that may pick that learning style may actually learn that subject or that skill differently. Some standards may require you to listen for things or see things. So when it comes to a learning style, assessments, I feel like they aren't beneficial for children because children learn certain things differently. So it depends on what it is, and how they're going to learn it. Because every child does not learn the same, obviously, like I said, but they also may not learn from just one learning style. They may learn from one or two learning styles at the same time. Some of them need to see and hear things, or some need to just see and touch things, or some need to just see the thing, or some need to just touch that thing, or some of them need it to be more engaging, more of a STEM activity, something with technology, something that pops out to them. So it doesn't really serve students better to have an assessment of a learning style, because there may be one learning style that they're strong at learning with, but also they may be strong only learning using that learning style in a certain area or subject. So that's my take on that one. The second one is federal mandates require all teachers to use practices deemed effective through research. So what do you think? Are teachers doing a disservice to the profession when they use strategies that aren't research-based? Should teachers care about research? In your experience, do they care about research? Okay, so the first part of this question is, are teachers doing a disservice to the profession when they use strategies that aren't research-based? I don't think so, because not every child is in a research-based statistic or in a graph or any of that stuff. I feel like that teacher is doing what's best for that student, what's best for her class. If that student needs intervention in a way that is not research-based or that shows proven facts or whatever, I think it's fine. I think you should use it. Yes, if it is a tool that's going to work for the child, yes, you should use it. But if it's not a tool that's going to work for the children, then don't use it. So my argument with that would be, are you using it because someone's telling you to use it, or because you feel like you're supposed to use it because you're not allowed to come up with things on your own, or are you unable to come up with things on your own, which is okay, or are you doing it because that you're at your wits end, your last resort, and you can't figure out anything that's going to work for it? If that's the case, then that would be a time to come in and maybe have more coworkers or other people to help you come up with things for that student or for your class. So I feel like that doesn't make you less professional for not using it. I think you should use it if you think it's going to work. If you don't think it's going to work, then don't use it. The next part of the question is, should teachers care about research? In a way, yes, teachers should care about research. I feel like we shouldn't be doing research on our own and, like conducting these statistic tests or assessments just to come up with, like, I guess, a score or some type of chart or graph that shows that this works and this doesn't work. I don't think that's our job. I think, yes, we can look at whether things are working, whether things are not working with this group of students or with this group of students. I think we should look at the charts and graphs and things like that and see how and when these things did work, just so we know when's the right time to do it for our students, when's the right time to do it for our class. So I think in that way we should care about, the research and the things that people have worked really hard on to get us data on. And even when you're giving assessments, when is the right time? What is a better way of giving it? If, students you see are struggling with the original way of giving it, what's another way of giving the test? So yes, I feel like they should care about it. for, assessment reasons and reasons for getting data on students, yes. Should we be acting as the researcher doing the conducting these experiments and tests and assessments? No. Unless that's something you want to do, I don't think we should be doing that. The last part of the question is, in your experience, do they care about research? Yes, teachers do care about research. I know that some of the lessons or activities they got from research, researching the effects of it, whether it works, things like that. So yes, teachers do care about research. I feel like they don't really harp on it, but they will look and see what works best for students and then kind of go from there and see, give it a timeline of when it worked, when it didn't work, what did they do to change it, when they actually implemented it and things like that. So yes, teachers do care about research, not so much as they maybe should be, but I feel like it's enough for them to get by and get resources and tools for their class. Do you agree or disagree with the following excerpt from the article? It is wise to individualize instruction. Differentiation provides one framework for individualizing in the context of heterogeneous classrooms. Focusing on students' learning styles adds little, if anything, of educational benefit to this process. I do agree with the bottom half of the quote or the excerpt, that focusing on students' learning styles and adds little, if anything, to educational benefits to this process, because we shouldn't focus so much on giving an assessment on learning skills or learning styles, because it doesn't really show what the student is capable of doing, because like I said, they may have different styles for different types of learning, or different subjects. They may need a different style of learning for a different subject, so it doesn't really show what they're capable of doing when we just label them with one learning style, because that learning style may not work for every subject that they're learning. It may work for one but not for the other. So I agree with the last section of that. Differentiation provides a framework for individualizing in the context of heterogeneous classrooms. I kind of disagree with that, just because differentiation provides one framework for individualizing in the context. It's not really one framework, because differentiation is for students that are different in your classroom, who need different instruction, who need accommodations for certain things, who they thrive off of those things and stuff like that. So I don't think it provides one framework. I think it honestly provides multiple frameworks. I feel like it's not one framework. It's multiple individualizing frameworks that you have to take the time out to make and create and adjust and change for those students. So I don't think it should just be one framework for the whole class. The whole class is not on the same level. So I may be interpreting this part wrong, but I think that's what it's meaning. If not, then I'm totally wrong, but that's what I'm getting out of that one. So it is wise to individualize instruction. Yes, I agree with that part, because individualizing instruction is very important for any child. And when it comes to learning styles, if we're talking about learning styles, that's super important. So, yes, individualizing instruction, absolutely. I feel like there has to come a point where things are discussed or done in a whole group, because it's important to have a whole group interaction and conversation. So the individualization should come within independent work, or small group work is where the individualization should come. But there should be a time when we all come together in a whole group and discuss and work together and be on the same page. So yes, it should be individualized and all of that, but I also feel like it should be beneficial for them to have conversations and things in whole group and kind of collaboratively work on something, even though it may be too high or too low for them. It imperative that they have those conversations together and learn from each other. So yes, individualize in small groups and in independent work. But if it's not that and it's whole group, or our whole group times and meeting times that are together, we should allow those to stay the same. They shouldn't be individualized, or shouldn't be any differentiation going on there, unless it is imperative because they do have a learning disability that requires them to have that individualization at all times to learn. But I feel like that's where inclusion comes in. You want all of those students to be inclusive in the classroom and feel as though they are a part of the classroom, even if they're different or even if they need more intervention. That gives them the time to feel like they're a part of the class and, they're a part of the discussions that happen. So yeah, that is my take on it.